Since the beginning of time, among all the animals that have inhabited the planet, mankind alone changed the face of the world. As we have developed, we have also endangered the planet. By the end of the 20th century, mankind finally became aware of the scale of the problem and decided to act. We are depleting the planet's resources, and we are placing an intolerable burden on the soil, the sea, and the forests. These often squandered natural resources end up as waste. Europe alone produces more than 2 billion tons of waste every year, an average of more than 5 tons per person. All this waste is the result of a simple economic model, one that is based on the production and consumption of goods. Our personal consumption patterns have a considerable effect on the planet, especially when you consider that there are more than 350 million Europeans. To reduce this impact, we can, for example, sort the waste we produce and make it easier to recycle. But we can and must do much more than that. This waste collection site specializes in the processing of waste from electrical and electronic equipment. First of all, particularly dangerous products, such as heavy metals, are removed from the waste stream. They risk contaminating the groundwater if they are dumped in a landfill. Secondly, parts are separated and reused to make new products. This way you save natural resources and energy. This is why sorting and recycling not only reduce the quantity of waste, but also levels of pollution. The European Union, therefore, wants to make manufacturers accept responsibility for the full product life cycle, from design to manufacturing to recycling, from cradle to grave. Improving our patterns of consumption and encouraging more efficient practices from manufacturers can help achieve a more responsible use of the planet's natural resources. This is what is known as sustainable development. In other words, how we can satisfy our own needs through economic development without endangering the right of future generations to meet theirs. This river is seriously polluted. The cause is intensive farming. Animal excrement and pesticides, which are both used in agriculture, can contaminate rivers and groundwater. Since groundwater supplies 65% of our drinking water, it is important to keep pollution levels as low as possible. Water is also polluted by sewers, which pump their effluents directly into rivers on the outskirts of towns, a practice which is, fortunately, declining. Fishing in the city centre would have been unimaginable 20 years ago, as would have been swimming in the water. Of course, this town treats its wastewater before letting it into the river, which is compulsory in the European Union. But many towns still fail to respect the rules. Our health can also be affected by the air that we breathe. In cities, hot days are often red alert days for pollution. The sun converts some car exhaust gases into ozone, a gas which is dangerous if inhaled. A number of towns are launching new initiatives to help reduce air pollution. Car-free weekends, improved public transport facilities, and non-polluting means of transport, such as electrical cars or buses, and bicycles. Some gases are not just harmful to our own health, but to that of the planet as a whole. Its temperature is rising and its climate is getting constantly warmer. It is impossible to predict the effects of global warming. We are on an island off the south coast of England. This road starts at number 5. Numbers 1 and 3 have already been engulfed by the sea. Every year, this island shrinks by several hectares. But what is causing this catastrophic erosion? The answer is rising sea levels and increased rainfall. Climate change can have dramatic consequences. Flooding, the melting of glaciers, rising sea levels, the relentless advance of the desert in certain regions and cooling in others. Carbon dioxide, or CO2, is the main culprit when it comes to global warming. It amplifies the greenhouse effect. It is produced by road and air transport systems, by power stations, and by domestic heating systems that burn coal and petrol. To combat climate change, greenhouse gas emissions must be cut. The European Union has committed itself to reducing them by 8% by 2012. To achieve this target, the European Union is also encouraging the use of renewable energy sources, such as the sun, the wind, and water. Climate change is a serious problem for the 21st century. It can also disrupt biodiversity. But what is biodiversity? The term biodiversity is a combination of the word bio, which means life, and diversity, which means variety. Biodiversity refers to the immense variety of fauna and flora found on the planet. Scientists have already classified almost 1 million species all over the world, but millions and millions more species have not even been discovered yet. A reduction in biodiversity means that certain species disappear. Part of planet Earth's heritage is then lost, forever. Now we are in the Mediterranean. This seaweed is known as Caulerpa taxifolia. It is a native of tropical seas that was accidentally introduced into the Mediterranean. This foreign species has now invaded thousands of hectares along the Mediterranean coastline, driving out native seaweed species, fish, shellfish, and crustaceans which used to live here. In early 21st century Europe, half of all mammal species are threatened, as well as a third of all birds, reptiles, and fish. Studies show that biological biodiversity will have been reduced by a quarter in 20 years' time. More than half of all medicines that are produced include ingredients obtained from living creatures. So, our medicine chest is being emptied. One of the causes of decreased biodiversity is the loss of natural habitats. To combat the process, the European Union has decided to designate around 15% of its total landmass to the creation of nature protection zones. This network of protected areas is known as Natura 2000. The aim is to protect areas where Europe's biodiversity will have the chance to replenish itself and flourish, as is the case here in Austria. Our behavior, our actions as individuals, have consequences that can impact upon the future of our common home, planet Earth. Have you thought what you can do to improve the environment where you live?